So the Red Wings season has finally come to an end after another brutal losing streak to end the season. It's just, that was a brutal way to end the season. Just coming out completely flat. And the Tigers season continues to roll on as the Tigers had some ups and downs this week. But yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and let's take a look at how Detroit sports fared this week. So starting off with the Tigers losing streak continued into their series against Toronto. And the first two games of the series, the Tigers got early leads in those games, but they completely collapsed and fell apart. Collapsed so hard to where Javier Baez made one of the biggest Detroit sports blunders since Darren Orlovsky ran outside his own end zone for a safety almost 15 years ago. When Javier Baez, after a fly ball got taken out, Javier Baez didn't even notice it and went all the way to third and had no clue there was a one out because he thought there was two outs when there was one. But then he quickly found out that it ended up being a double play because Baez went all the way to third base, which on a fly ball that was out. And Baez ended up being out on a double play because Baez had no clue what he was doing. Like, that was just a complete blunder. It's like, why the fuck did Avila get him again? Like, it's very obvious that Baez only came to the Tigers because of the payday. But then A.J. Hinch, he did the right thing benching him and did it the most mature way by taking him to the dugout, having a meeting with him and being like, yeah, you're benched. And yeah, now the question is, what happens to Javier Baez? Like, I believe with that blunder, like, almost all his trade value diminishes. And no one's going to take on his fucking awful contract. But hey, after they benched Javier Baez, they rebounded nicely in Toronto in the third and final game, beating the Jays to win a game. And congratulations, Tigers, you finally won a game when I didn't do a trash talk video. Yay, took you long enough. And then with the momentum of that win against Toronto, even though they lost the series, at least they prevented Toronto from sweeping them. So at least there's one positive there. And then the Tigers took that momentum and faced San Francisco. And they completely beat San Francisco as they went up going to high-scoring games, and they outlasted San Francisco in the two games, beating them 7-5 and 7-6. 7 runs each. God damn, not bad. And there was supposed to be a third game on April 16th. But that game Sunday was postponed due to inclement weather and rain in the area, then going under a severe thunderstorm warning. Oof. So the third game of that series has now been postponed all the way to July 24th in a one-off game. So yeah, we have to wait to play the Giants again until end of July. But even though that third game was postponed, the Tigers did technically sweep the Giants. Even though it's not a 3-game sweep, hey, even though it was 2 games still, a sweep is a sweep, even if it's a technicality. So now the Tigers have now won 3 in a row entering this week. Very interesting. I believe this is going to be the part of the year where the Tigers look hot for a little bit and then they completely dick punch the fan base back to reality. Not getting my hopes up on the Tigers yet. Tigers need to actually fucking prove it if they want me to buy into it. But yeah, they're probably just going to hype everyone up and then dick punch it in a couple weeks. See you in a couple weeks when it starts. And now to the Red Wings. Yeah, this week was just complete brutal. Like every game this week, the Wings got completely blown out. They got blown out by Dallas on Fan Appreciation Night in their final home game of the season. They got blown out by Carolina, and they got blown out by Tampa Bay. Of course, all 3 teams were all tuning up for the playoffs and getting ready. As Carolina, they're getting ready to play the Islanders in the first round. The Stars are playing the Wild in the first round, and Tampa Bay is gearing up for their series against Toronto. But yeah, the Wings go into the offseason on a 5-game losing streak, I believe. Yeah, 4 or 5. But yeah, still a brutal way to end the year. And the Wings end the season with 35, 37, and 10. So yeah, after that hot start the Wings got to the start of the season and being in contention for the playoffs for much of the season, the Wings don't even finish the season with a winning record. So the Waynes still lose it. Streak of losing seasons continue on for another year. Damn it. After all that progress, and they still can't get a winning record. Damn. So yeah, the Waynes will not end that losing season streak this year. That sucks. So now entering the draft lottery. The Waynes now enter the draft lottery currently in the 9th overall pick. And to be perfectly honest, I feel like that's going to be where the Waynes will end up picking. I think they'll end up picking 9th. Because I don't see anybody below the Waynes jumping ahead of them. And I honestly don't see the Waynes jumping in the top 3. Even though the Waynes are long overdue for a jump into the top 3. And the NHL at some point has to make it up to Detroit for fucking the Waynes over in 2020. But probably not, because Detroit versus everybody. But yeah, and of course the team that enters the draft lottery with the best odds is Anaheim. Interesting. But let's be honest here. I'd be honest for the draft lottery. I think the first overall pick, aka the winner of the Connor Bedard sweepstakes, is probably going to be either Chicago or fucking Arizona. Chicago, because they literally got no more superstars, because Kane got traded and Taze is gone. And Arizona, I have Arizona because I feel like Bettman's going to do everything he can to keep the Coyotes in Glendale. And just send Bedard there just so that Bettman has a legit excuse to keep the Coyotes down there. Instead of moving their ass to Houston already. But yeah, the Waynes season, despite all the progress though, hey, I'll say for the Waynes though this year, it was a better season than what we had last year with Blashill, because Blashill was just flat out fucking embarrassing. At least there wasn't too many embarrassing blowout losses. There were a couple early in the season, but that's about it. You know, the Waynes did play hard, and this was actually Dylan Larkin's best season of his career. You know, hopefully next year Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider bounce back, since both of them kind of suffered sophomore slumps, which, you know, it happens. You know, it's a real thing. You know, I think they'll both bounce back till next year. And of course, for the Waynes, though, Waynes will have 2 first-round picks in this year's draft, because with the Islanders making the playoffs this year, it means that pick is not a lottery pick, which means the Waynes get that pick, because that pick they got from the Islanders from when the Waynes traded Philip Hronek to the Canucks and got the first-round pick the Canucks got from the Bo Horvat trade. Yeah, that pick was a top 12 pick, but since the Islanders made the playoffs, that pick is going to be anywhere from 17th or lower. So yeah, it will not be top 12 protected, so the Waynes will have 2 first-round picks this year. And that pick is probably going to be around 17th or 18th, because the Islanders are probably going to lose to the Hurricanes in the first round. But yeah, the Waynes will have 2 first-round picks to work with. I imagine they're probably going to look at taking a center, though. I mean, really what the Waynes draft plan does, it really depends on where they end up in the draft lottery. I think they're going to end up staying at 9th. But, you know, 18th, though, the Waynes could go a lot of different directions in 18th. You know, they could trade down and get more late-round, day 2 draft picks, get them late-round picks, since, you know, Steve Yzerman likes those late-round picks. You know, I don't know. I could see Steve Yzerman trade up if there's a player he likes and he wants to go get him. I could see that happening again. You know, and there's going to be a lot of questions about what happens with the Waynes next year. You know, especially with some of the prospects in the pipeline, you know. Be honest, I feel like Simon Edvinson's going to be on the roster next year. I don't see Casper on the roster next year. I could be totally wrong, but I think Casper should just stay in Grand Rapids for another year. Just don't rush him up. Just keep him down there for another year. And I could see Sebastian Cossa going to Grand Rapids. I feel like Cossa ain't there yet, but he's getting there. You know, they got some interesting pieces coming up, but I feel like Simon Edvinsson, I think it's time to bring him up to the main roster, you know. Obviously, I don't want the Waynes to be at 9. I'm hoping they go into the top 3. That's what I want them to be, at least the 2nd or 3rd pick. But realistically, I think they're going to stay at 9. Like, I'll be honest here, I'll be legit shocked if they won the lottery, let alone jump in the top 3. You know, could they? Yes, but I have my doubts. But overall, though, I'll say for the Waynes, though, easily the Waynes are currently the 2nd best sports team in Detroit right now, behind the Lions. Even though the Waynes could potentially catch the Lions in the future, unless the Lions really take another step forward this year. Well, I say to everyone that watched Red Wings hockey this year, I hope you enjoyed that Red Wings hockey this year, because this is the best Detroit sports team we will have until September. Because God help us with the Tigers. Just waiting for the Tigers to dick punch the fan base back. Yeah, and for the Wings, we will find out their draft lottery fate on May 8th. And we'll also find out the Pistons draft lottery fate also in May. So we will find out both teams' fates. If the Wings jump into the top 3 or if they stay at 9. Or if the Pistons will end up with the number 1 pick, or if they'll get fucking shafted to 5th or some shit. You know, and the Pistons head coaching search also continues on. They're really doing their hard work there. You know, we'll come back to this on the Pistons head coaching thing once they announce their new head coach, and I'll get my honest thoughts. But yeah, anyway, that'll wrap it up for this, you know. So yeah, I will be still doing Detroit sports recaps, but they're not going to be as long as they normally been, because it's all the recaps from here on out till September are just going to be on the Tigers. But anyway, that'll wrap it up here. I do got the Lions free agency recap coming up later this week. I also got 2 more. I'm going to also get the last 2 Detroit Lions draft previews up before the draft. And yeah, anyway, that'll wrap it up here. That's all I got to say. Hope everyone's a great day, and I'll see you on what I make next. I'm out. Go Wings.